the debate this week was based on something Travis Hunter said. I mean, again, he was asked the question, but what is harder to play on both sides of the sport? Is it football or baseball? Here's what Travis Hunter said if you missed it.
What's more difficult for you doing football or what Tony does in baseball?
Probably me, what I do in football, because it's a lot on your body. You know, Tony, he's a great player, but you got to do a lot in football.
Again, the question was, what's harder to play on both sides of the sport? Football or baseball? Meaning, is it harder for Travis Hunter, who plays offense and defense, or is it harder for baseball, Shohei Ohtani, as a pitcher and batter?
The answer is obvious. And you can't come down on Travis Hunter. It was a quick answer to a quick question at a combine.
That's
right?
the other thing that people need to keep in mind when it comes to quotes and a lot of the things we discuss here on Fox Sports Radio. Well, why did they say that? Hey, did you hear what Travis Hunter said? Yeah, well, he was asked a question. That's what people need to keep in mind sometimes. Not like he said it like he was calling out Shohei Ohtani or calling out baseball. Someone asked him a question that needs to be explained.
Hey, Covino.
Yeah.
You like big asses?
I do.
You hear Covino? He's on Fox Sports talking about how all he's talking about is booty.
You asked me, yeah. So he was asked a question, he answered. Yeah. I'm not mad at him about it.
May
but
I ask you a question?
I don't agree with him. I don't think anyone should. Does he make a point? It's almost like a two-part answer. Football is going to be more toll on your body, but is it a harder sport to play both ways? No way. You got to be exceptional in baseball.
I think it's a –
both sides.
I'm not saying it's a short conversation, but I sort of think it is because there's two layers, like you just said. The physical wear and tear and what it does to your body.
Yeah, you're going to be more gassed playing both sides of football.
To play in the NFL, forget college. I mean, he was a star player in college, Heisman Trophy winner. To play in college on both sides of the ball and do that in the NFL is extraordinary. The fact that you could line up on both sides of the ball and defend the pass and then also make ridiculous catches
at a professional and elite level too.
What that does to your body is something no one's experienced. That's insane. But Justin Jefferson, if he needed to, could play defensive back. If you were like, yo, we're in the biggest emergency of all emergencies, CeeDee Lamb, could you be a defender for a minute? He could probably do it. Maybe not elite, but guess what? I bet you Brandon Ayuk or Tyreek Hill could defend the pass.
Well, you know why, Rich? Because they've all done it at one point in their life in that sport. There's no question that these guys are playing both sides of the ball at one point.
They may not,
high school.
They may not be elite on both sides like Travis Hunter, but I could promise you take T. Higgins or any elite wide receiver that we talk about. If push came to shove, they could play defensive back. They could play free safety. They could do any of these things. And any guy in the secondary, if he needed to, could catch passes from a quarterback.
But as we described with baseball, it's such a skill sport, to be elite enough to be a dominant pitcher and a dominant hitter at a big league level like Shohei Ohtani's doing takes much more skill, much more difficult, in our opinion, than what Travis Hunter has to do. And that's not to take anything away from him because it's remarkable. It's just to combat the answer he gave to that question. If you guys agree or disagree, would love to hear from you. 877-99 on Fox, but I think what Shohei Ohtani's doing is much more difficult, much more impressive.
It's the difference between, that's crazy, that's unbelievable, versus like, one guy has done it since Babe Ruth effectively.
Harder to play on both sides, Fox Sports Radio Nation. Is there any debate? Does Travis Hunter have any truth to what he said?
All right, let me throw a curveball at you. Ohtani style. Shohei Ohtani at points, this guy's been an MVP without even pitching. Throw in the fact that in any given season, he's a Cy Young candidate. That's what makes it insane and not even a question for me. Like, to take what, a Screwball or a, Verlander or a Scherzer in their prime or a Paul Skeens is doing on the mound. And imagine if that guy was also stealing 50 bases, hitting 50 home runs.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it's like...
Think of any slugger out there, Aaron Judge. He's not going to get on a mound and be as dominant as Shohei has become on the mound. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Has he done it at one point in his career? As a high schooler in Little League? Yeah, of course. Everybody has. So I'm sure he has that experience, but to do it on that level, no way.
I think
that's why when you see any position player take the mound, they're always throwing junk pitches, knuckleballs, things like that. You sent me that random clip of Wade Boggs recently.
I had never seen that. Dan Byer, I know you've seen a lot of these clips. Did you ever see that Wade Boggs throwing knuckleballs from like back in the day? He retired the side.
No, I didn't.
He was real pumped to make his debut. He was one of those guys known for always throwing a mean knuckleball, always wanting to get out there, and then finally got his chance with the Yankees.
Never seen it.
I never seen. I'm going to find it and send it to you. I had never seen it myself, and it's during the Yankees Joe Torre days, and the Yankees were down 10-plus runs in the 7th or 8th inning. Out comes Wade Boggs, and he's throwing knucklers, and he actually strikes someone out, gets 2 guys to ground out. It was phenomenal.
Right.
The better question is not Travis Hunter versus Ohtani. You got to say, do you put what Ohtani's doing because pitching and hitting are so different? Is that equal to what Primetime did or Bo Jackson playing 2 different sports? Because pitching and hitting, it's almost like 2 different sports. That's the better question.
It would almost be like being a Pro Bowl kicker, kicking 60-yard field goals, and then also being able to play a skill position.
It would be like if Saquon Barkley could also kick like Justin Tucker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still 2 different skills. Like, I'll be honest, it sounds ridiculous, but I'll pat you on the back, Covino, since I rarely do so. Being a sports talk show host is different than when Covino does like rock radio.
Oh, yeah.
Those are 2 different skills. Like when you hear Covino on one of the rock stations on Sirius XM, hey, that was Metallica, and he's shooting the crap about all his fun facts about rock music in between
Still
songs.
Telling some of the same jokes, though.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, the jokes are equally bad. But that skill is not the same skill as doing a talk show. It's a different skill set.
Yeah,
It's
different
a
tool
hat.
in the toolbox.
Yeah, it absolutely is. That's actually a good question. Is that a better debate? Like what Bo Jackson did, what Deion Sanders did? Is that a better debate? Travis Hunter, regardless, not trying to take anything away from him, is unbelievable. It's amazing. The fact that we're even debating what he's doing with Shohei is a testament to how great he is. But I do think that 2 sides of baseball is harder to play than both sides of football.
Covino,
It's just more taxing, more tolling on you, more exhausting football to do both sides.
I'm sure there's football gurus that want to strangle me when I say this. But from my perspective, being a defensive back and a wide receiver are probably 2 of the most similar positions where you're just doing close to the same thing, just on 2 different sides of the ball.
I'm sure a professional would debate that.
Of course they would,
right?
But I'm saying like it would be like defending a point guard or being a point guard has the ball.
But you would imagine the same athleticism is required.
It's a very similar skill set. I could be totally wrong, but that's how I
wide
look
receivers tend to be. We were talking wide receiver versus defensive back, right?
Yeah.
Wide receivers usually are a little taller. I mean, if we're talking about physical differences,
And have better
And
hands.
defensive backs a little quicker and
They're receiving because their hands are better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, it became a debate. Travis Hunter, again, he was asked the question, what was harder to play on both sides? So we thought about it. We brought it to you. We'll take 2 quick phone calls, and we'll get ready for some Shaq Diesel trivia.
all right, let's say hi to Doug in Maryland. Hey, Doug.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're good, man.
Hey, real quick, I don't want to take a lot of time, but Travis Hunter's on the same level as Charles Woodson, who played both ways. But look, I was telling your call screener, the most difficult sport in the world to play is baseball. You're hitting a round ball off of a round bat, and then he throws 100 miles per hour. I mean, there's no argument. It's Ohtani, and trust me, I'm not a big Ohtani fan, but I have to admire and respect the talent that he has. I mean, there's no debate.
You know what's so
Ohtani
funny
all the way.
is that's one of those like automatic responses that we all have. Round ball, round bat, hardest ever. Did those science nerds with the mustaches and berets ever put this to the test? Did John Brenkus ever really do a sports science on what really is the hardest? Because we just know, as sports fans, we all know that.
Cricket's easier than, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying we just, as sports fans, have heard that, and that's our automatic response. Round ball, round bat, hardest thing to do. I don't know if that's true.
Am I dreaming?
It seems to be, though, when you got such a short reaction time. I believe John Brinkus did put that to the test, like how insane it is in sports science to react in that split second, split second to make that decision on where the pitch is going to be.
It's because when we've all stood in a batting cage, the fastest one, and before you could even think about getting the bat around, the pitch is past you. Whereas all of us have thrown a football, some of us can throw it better than others, but we can all spiral the ball. We've all caught a punt, so it seems at least easier, even though the NFL is not easy. NBA is not easy.
You don't have a defender in your face, but we've all made a three-pointer.
Exactly.
I think I may be dreaming this, but this has been discussed among athletes, and I feel like Mookie Betts, who's known as such a great athlete across the board, has discussed with fellow elite athletes, football, baseball, basketball, where he's like, yo, with all due respect, I know I wouldn't be great in the NBA, but I might score 4 points, chuck up a couple shots, get lucky, but there's no way. And he's talking to like NBA players saying, yo, there's no way you're even touching the ball in 10 at-bats in the big leagues. Like you're not even making contact yet. In the NBA, I wouldn't be good, but I think a guy like Mookie Betts said, I'll get off a couple shots and maybe I'll get lucky. You're not getting lucky in the batter's box. I think that's where it ends.